I'm Bud Houston with Garage Gurus. On today's tech tip, I'm going to share with you how to do an inline solder splice. Most technicians know that wire repair is an essential aspect of our job. But did you know most manufacturers suggest that all wire repairs be repaired with a solder splice? So anytime we would want to do this is when we were maybe replacing a harness or repairing a damaged wire. For today's demonstration, we're going to be wiring in this replacement connector to this replacement wire. So to do a solder splice, we must first prepare the wires. We must have clean cuts first, and then we're going to need to strip the insulation from the wire. Today we're going to be using a traditional wire stripper that works on multiple size wires. Today we're working with 18 gauge wire, so we want to insert the wire through the hole marked 18 gauge, approximately 1 inch, clamp, and pull. The idea of this is to remove just the insulation and none of the conductor material. Now as we prepare the other wire, again, 18 gauge, approximately 1 inch, clamp, and pull. To finish preparing our wires, we want to twist the wires to make sure that they're uniform. So we prepare this wire and the adjacent wire. Now, before we make this splice, we're going to make sure that we install our heat shrink tubing, because if you forget to install your heat shrink tubing, you'll have to remake the wiring repair. Now, we're going to twist these two wires together so that they're not like this, but in line. And so to do that, we're going to cross them about halfway through and begin to twist and lay the wires down. And as we're twisting, we want to make sure that we get the wires twisted tightly so that we don't have protruding wires that could potentially penetrate our heat shrink tubing. So now we're going to install our wire on a preheated soldering iron. And we need to let the wire reach a temperature of approximately 400 degrees. That's approximately the melting point of our solder on the soldering iron. Now we don't want to drip the solder onto the wire, but rather allow the solder to be absorbed into the wire. So now that our wire has reached its temperature, we're going to take our solder and place it where the soldering iron meets the wire, and we should see the solder flow into the wire. And we want to penetrate all of the wire with solder. We want to inspect and make sure that we don't have anything protruding that could damage the heat shrink material. And if we're happy with this splice, we will now move the heat shrink material over the solder joint, and then we will get our heat gun and we will heat the heat shrink tubing, and what it will do is it will melt and make a watertight seal. Now to inspect to make sure that our heat shrink tubing is going to make that watertight seal, we want to look and inspect and see a little bit of the glue material come out the ends. Once we have that and we're happy with it, I always like to give my wire repairs a good tug. Feels tight, that's good. That's how you make an inline solder joint. I'm Bud Houston with Garage Gurus. For more tech tips, subscribe to our channel.